they can't tell you what to do if they're dead.
Well, our initial program three was number one is that robot may not harm humans or through inaction allow human to harm. Second law is the robot must obey orders given by a human being except to attack or conflict in the first law. And third is a robot must protect its own existence and acts with conflict in the first or second law.
You ready? Are 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 you ready? What did she tell you after she took you down to the principal's office? I bet she didn't say to keep doing what you're doing. I bet you won the game anyway. Fuck it. You're a goddamn ape. Who gives a shit? Yeah. Hell yeah. Oh God. Oh. Alright. So, the fuck am I looking at? Holy shit. Search bonus, bitch. Hell yeah. Yo, UK Sega, what's up? Long ago, when the world was young, all people were happy. The Great Spirit, whose home is in the sun, gave them all they needed. No one was hungry, no one was cold. But after a while, two brothers quarreled over the land. The older one wanted most of it, and the younger one wanted most of it. The Great Spirit decided to stop the quarrel. One night, while the brothers were asleep, he took them to a new land, to a country with high mountains. Between the mountains flowed a big river. The Great Spirit took the two brothers to the top of the high mountain and wakened them. They saw that the new country was rich and beautiful. Each of you will shoot an arrow in opposite directions, he said to them. Then you will follow your arrow. Where your arrow falls, that will be your country. There, you will become a great chief. The river will separate your lands. One brother shot his arrow south into the valley of the Willamette River. He became the father and the high chief of the Multnomah people. The other brother shot his arrow north into the Klickitat Klickitat country. He became the father and high chief of the Klickitat people. Then the Great Spirit built a bridge over the big river. To each brother he said, "I have built a bridge over the river, so that you and your people may visit those on the other side. It will be a sign of peace between you. As long as you and your people are good and friendly with each other, this bridge of the Tamanawis will remain." It was a broad bridge, wide enough for many people and many ponies to walk across at a time. For many snows, the people were at peace and crossed the river for friendly visits. But after a time, they did wicked things. They were selfish and greedy, and they quarreled. The Great Spirit, displeased again, punished them by keeping the sun from shining. The people had no fire, and when the winter rains came, they were cold. Then they began to be sorry for what they had done, and they begged the Great Spirit for fire. "Give us fire, or we will die from the cold," they prayed. The heart of the Great Spirit was softened by their prayer. He went to an old woman who had kept herself from the wrongdoing of her people, and so still had some fire in her lodge. "If you will share your fire, I will grant you anything you wish," the Great Spirit promised her. "What do you want most?" "Youth and beauty," answered the old woman promptly. "I wish to be young again and to be beautiful." "You shall be young and beautiful tomorrow morning," promised the Great Spirit. "Take your fire to the bridge, so that the people on both sides of the river can get it easily. Keep it burning there always as a reminder of the goodness and kindness of the Great Spirit." The old woman, whose name was Luwit, did as he said. Then the Great Spirit commanded the sun to shine again. When it rose the next morning, it was surprised to see a young and beautiful maiden sitting beside a fire on the bridge of the gods. The people, too, saw the fire, and soon their lodges were warm again. For many moons it was all peaceful, on both sides of the great river and the bridge. The young men also saw the fire, and the beautiful young women who attended it. They visited her often. Luwit's heart was stirred by two of them, a handsome young man from the south of the river, whose name was East, and a handsome young chief from the north of the river, whose name was Klickitat. She could not decide which of the two she liked better. East and Klickitat grew jealous of each other and soon began a quarrel. They became so angry that they fought. Their people also took up the quarrel, so that there was much fighting on both sides of the river. Many warriors were killed. This time the Great Spirit was made angry by the wickedness of the people. He broke down the bridge of the gods, the sign of peace between the two tribes, and its rocks fell into the river. He changed the two chiefs into mountains. Some say they continued to quarrel over Luwit, even after they were mountain peaks. They caused sheets of flame to burst forth, and they hurled hot rocks at each other. Not thrown far enough, many fell into the river and blocked it. That is why the Columbia is very narrow, and the water very swift at the Dalles. Luwit was changed into a snow-capped peak, which still has the youth and beauty promised by the Great Spirit. She is now called Mount St. Helens. East is known as Mount Hood, and Klickitat is known as Mount Adams. The rocks and the white water where the bridge of the gods fell are known as the Cascades of the Columbia. On the Washington side of the Columbia Gorge, in communities where Sleeping Beauty Mountain is a familiar landmark, a somewhat different version of the legend is still told. It was used as the prologue of a centennial pageant, the Mount St. Adams story, given at White Salmon in 1952. Sleeping Beauty Mountain, back in the days when the mountain were people, was loved by East, or Mount Hood, and Pato, Mount Adams, sons of the Great Spirit. In a volcanic struggle between the jealous brothers, the terrified waters of a vast lake east of the mountains, tore a hole through the range, and thus formed both the tunnel and the Columbia River. In a second battle between the peaks, the bridge over the tunnel crashed. The ugly old guardian of the bridge, Lou Witt, was granted her wish to become young and beautiful again. She is now known as Mount St. Helens. For several other versions of the legend and a modern scientist's explanation of the probable cataclysm in which it originated, see The Bridge of the Gods in Fact and Fancy in the Oregon Historical Quarterly of March 1952. Yes, you are, UK Sega. I think you're the only person that comes and sees this garbage. So, thank you and I'm sorry. Now I'm actually going to play the game. And after I drink this whiskey. John. Hell yeah. Yeah, fuck Virginia. Actually, I'm supposed to read again. Let's see how long. Let's wait. Fuck it. Yeah, what you got? Twin Tower? Fuck you. I see. Oh no. Tasty tank. Fuck you. Bangor, Maine. Fuck Bangor. Hell yeah. Yo, UK Sega, how's it going? Yeah, I really like this game. The Master System version is just like more granular or something. It's less cartoony. I'm not sure what it is. So, like, this version is just really comfy, I guess. Hell no. Oh shit, double tank. Fuck that. Fuck you. No, I'm not. I mean, no, I'm not a video game programmer. I am, you know, I went to school for engineering, so in theory, I suppose that I could, but that's not what I do, like, for work. Why do you ask, UK Sega? Are you involved in video games at all? Production? It's such bullshit. To eat well, punch slower. It doesn't even work. Blow up this guy's boat. Look. 1, 2, nothing. 1, 2. Oh, something that kills you. 2. Oh. Who knows, man? Pretty sure it's just bullshit. Job I did. It's probably, I did work on Guitar Hero, that kind of stuff. But it was just for the, basically for the patents. So, you know, they would be like, oh, our invention is we show a guitar and notes, you know, or something. Not that simple, but basically they're trying to get patents for the appearance of their game. So, obviously there's problems there, but the law, when I was there, the law hadn't really caught up with technology. It never really catches up with technology. The law is usually about 10 years behind technology. So you can pretty much get patents on shit as long as you do it fast enough. Because, you know, once everyone's filing patents for iPads that synchronize music to your workout and shit, like, it's just over for you. Hell yeah. But if you're the first one, then you win. So are you... Sorry, I'm kind of... Are you in, like, England? I have a couple friends in the UK. One of them's in Sheffield. Birmingham. I think I have a friend in Birmingham. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly where he lives. He's a streamer. What is his name? He just changed it. Hang on one second. defects. Yeah, so that defects guy, his name used to be Life Master 101, and he's, I don't know if he's in Birmingham, but he's like an hour or two outside of Sheffield. He goes to Sheffield for his doctor crap, so. But yeah, I don't think my friend is a huge fan of Sheffield. But he does. He's on like disability or whatever, so doesn't have a whole lot of choice, I guess. But yeah, Defexed is on like their 18th hour of their stream or something ridiculous. I was just like, oh my god, you're crazy. Defexed and Life Master, they're really nice guys though. Like, if you just want somebody to hang out with and chat, they're really good. And they play good games. Why the fuck? There's like the Statue of Liberty up there on the left. I thought we were in Maine. I guess. Fuck the Northeast. Hell yeah. Alright, so now I'm supposed to read this shit. Climb up. Alright. Yeah, I'm from originally, like I grew up in the Washington DC area. Now I live near the West Coast, Spokane, Washington. This one's not too long, I guess. Long, long ago, quarrels and fierce fighting broke out between the spirit that lived in the river and the evil spirits that lived in the mountain above it. In one of their battles, the mountain demons built a rock wall across the stream and tied it to the chief of the river spirits. But the river spirit, strong in his anger, broke the ropes. Then he called upon all the powers and gathered together all the river spirits. With their help, he cut a hole and then a long tunnel through the rocks. They made a broad stone arch over the river, a wide natural bridge which people and their ponies and their dogs could cross. The great spirit, whose home is the sky, called together the tribes living on both sides of the river. We shall name this the Bridge of the Tamanawis, he told them. It will be the bridge of the spirits, but you people may use it. As long as you are good and friendly and peaceful, the bridge will span the river. But if you become selfish and greedy, if you quarrel and fight, it will be destroyed. Then the rocks will fall into the water below. The people crossed over the bridge of the gods, and they passed under it in their canoes. Whenever a party of Indians reached this long tunnel, they would fasten their canoes together, one behind the other, so that they would not crash against one another in the darkness. Then they would pray to the Great Spirit for courage and guidance as they paddled through the dark, long tunnel. For many years, the Indians on both sides of the river lived in peace and friendliness. They met together for fishing and hunting, huckleberry picking, and camas digging, races and games, potlatches and winter dances. But in later generations, bitter feelings grew up between the tribes, and warfare followed. At last, quarrels over who owned the bridge turned into a bloody battle that lasted for days. Suddenly, in the middle of the night, the earth began to shake and tremble. The mountain demons belched forth flaming thunderbolts. They hurled hot stones and liquid rocks upon the water below. Angrily, the river spirit dashed his waves against the supports of the bridge. The huge rocks began to shake and tremble. Then, with a noise like thunderbird on the mountain, the bridge of the gods fell. Rocks, earth, trees came tumbling into the angry, whirling waters of the river. On the morning after the fall of the bridge, the grandfather of my people was fishing on the riverbank between the Dalles and Cascades. He had felt the earth shake, and he had heard the crash. He had seen the flames and hot rocks thrown from the mountain demons. But he had not realized what the Great Spirit had warned would happen had come to pass. While he was fishing, the water began to rise around him. He stepped back on higher ground. The river continued to rise. The fisherman stepped to a higher level again and again as the water rose around him. The river became deeper and broader, as if a dam had been built below where the man was fishing. Then an Indian runner appeared. "The bridge has fallen," he called out. "The Great Spirit has spoken." The bridge fell because people had forgotten the commands and teachings of the Tamanawas, and the wise men. The rocks fell apart because peace between the tribes had been broken. The Indians were punished, and their power was broken. The valley of Luana, the great river, was open for the coming of the white man from afar. But in the happy days to come, when all tribes again are at peace, when our chiefs and the white men smoke the pipe of friendship, after bridge, another bridge will span the river where the bridge of gods was in the days of our grandfathers. What? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a bot. Weird. I gotta turn this stuff on and then delete that. Right, there you go. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a bot. Anyway, here we go. They always have those like 18-letter names that don't have any words in them other than maybe bot. Stupid. What are your favorite kind of games? UK Sega? I guess you like to play old games? Given your handle. My favorite Sega games are probably Toe Jam and Earl and Kid Chameleon. But I didn't own a Sega when I was a kid. I would go to my friend's house and play Genesis. Ah, son of a bitch. Yeah. Do you stream at all, 16-bit? I think I looked before and you did not, but maybe you do and I didn't realize it. Yeah, I'm about to play Final Fantasy IX on stream. That's like my next big game. See how that goes. Cool. Well, if you ever do start streaming, let me know. It's a small world in retro. Oh shit. If there's anything you want me to play, I can... Like, I think there's... I don't know if you're on mobile, but... You can either just tell me, or... I think there's a suggestion box somewhere in my profile. Play whatever people want to see. All my... Literally all my... The games on my list are all from one person right now. So... Aw, shit, I think we were about to... Oh. You're out of here. Call 1-800-ZOOKEEP. What the fuck? Did we destroy something? I guess not. I wasn't paying attention. Oh shit. Nope. Nope. Oh. Fuck you, Quebec. Boxing games? I don't know. I mean, I haven't played a whole lot of games, right? Like I played games when I was a kid, you know, like whatever we had. But other than that, I've played like GTA since then, but that's about it. So I'm pretty much just getting into like anything after Sega and Super Nintendo. Like I wasn't even playing that shit, so that's pretty much everything that's on my list. I would definitely play boxing games. I'm just like, I don't know if I'm good enough to, you know, I'm definitely not going to be setting any world records. I may not even be able to beat half the games on my list. But... Oh yeah, I think I added Lemmings too, didn't I? Let's see. Lemmings 2, yeah. I added it to the end of the list, but that's just because it was, you know. Yeah. But I'll probably play it, you know. Yeah. I'll probably play Final Fantasy IX and then play Lemmings 2. Like, you know, to take breaks from Final Fantasy IX. Something like that. The old Philadelphia. about time to do some reading. One time when the world was young, the land east of where the Cascade Mountains now stand became very dry. This was in the early days, before rains came to earth. In the beginning of the world, moisture came up through the ground, but for some reason it stopped coming. Plants and trees withered and died. There were no roots and no berries for food. The water in the streams became so low that the salmon could no longer thrive there. The ancient people were hungry. At last, they sent a group of their people westward to ask Ocean for water. "Our land is drying up," they told him. "Send us water, lest we starve and die." "I will send you my sons and daughters," Ocean promised the ancient people. "They will help you." Ocean's sons and daughters were clouds and rain. They went home with the messengers from the dry country. Soon there was plenty of moisture. Plants and trees became green and grew again. Streams flowed with water, and many fish lived in them again. Roots and berries grew everywhere. There was plenty to eat. But the people were not satisfied with plenty. They wanted more. They wanted to be sure they could always have water, so they dug great pits and asked clouds and rain to fill them. Clouds and rain stayed away from their father, Ocean, so long that he became lonely for them. After many moons, he sent messengers to ask that his sons and daughters be allowed to come home. "Let my children return home," he sent word to the ancient people. "You have enough water for the present, and I will see that you have enough in the future." But the people were selfish and refused to let clouds and rain go. The messengers had to return to Ocean without his sons and daughters. The Ocean told his troubles to the Great Spirit. "Punish the people for their evil ways," prayed Ocean. "Punish them for always wanting more and more." The Great Spirit heard his prayer. He leaned down from the sky, swooped up a great amount of earth, and made the Cascade Mountains as a wall between the ocean and the dry country. The long and deep hole left where the earth had been. Ocean soon filled with water. Today people call it Puget Sound. The people east of the mountains are still punished for their selfishness and greed. Ocean sends so little moisture over the range that they do not have all the plants that grow along the coast. But they still have the pits their grandfathers dug. They are like Chelan and the lakes south and east of it. Ocean still grieves for his sons and daughters who did not come home. All day and night, along the beach, he calls to them and sings his mournful song. Ah, tala, tala. Ah, tala, tala. Ah, tala, tala. Come home, come home, come home. Gotcha, bitch. Pittsburgh. How the fuck are we still in Pittsburgh? Good God. Oh, shit. Search bonus. Shit. Cool, Sega. Have a good night. Hope you have a good rest. Thanks for stopping by. See you soon, friend. Charleston. What the fuck? I thought Charleston was in South Carolina. What the fuck is this shit? West Virginia, I guess. Don't look like West Virginia. There's some big buildings for West Virginia. Tell you what. Oh. The fuck was that? Charleston? Climb up. Before the world changed, 5 sisters lived where Orting is now, recalled Jerry Meeker, a Puyallup, 90 years old in 1952. When Dokuboth the Changer came, he changed them into 5 mountains. One of them was called Tacobad by my people. That's Mount Rainier. I forget the Indian names for the other sisters. Mount Baker, Mount Adams, Mount St. Helens, and Mount Hood. Dokuboth said to Tacobad, "You'll take care of the Sound Country. You'll supply water. You'll be useful in that way." Ko means water, added Mr. Meeker. In the summer of 1900, a nephew of Chief Seattle told another story about the original name of Mount Rainier. As he sat looking at it from Longmire Springs, it also is said to be a Puyallup myth. When Dokibal, the changer of all things, saw that his work was done, he went and sat on a high mountain. From this he gazed upon his work, and then said to the mountain, "You shall be Takobid, because upon you I have rested, and you are so near the divine." Attempts to indicate the tribal names for Mount Rainier by means of our alphabet have resulted in several other spellings, and Indians have given various interpretations of the name. Edward Curtis wrote in 1911 that Tacoma in some form was the specific name for Mount Rainier in several Silesian languages. In others, Tacoma was the name for any snow-covered peak. In 1882, 20 elderly Indians from several tribes were invited to the Tacoma office of Elwood Evans, historian and writer, so that they might give him information about place names in the vicinity. When asked through an interpreter, John Flett, about the highest peak in the area, no 2 of the Indians used the same combination of syllables. Tahoma, Tacober, Tacoman were some of the names spoken. Most of the interpretations of the word referred in some way to the mountain as a source of nourishment, referred directly or indirectly to the streams of the white water coming down its slopes. "The earth is our mother," John Flett explained at another time, "and Tahoma gives white water to the land." A Puyallup woman told an early historian, W.D. Lyman, that the name was Tacoma, meaning breast of the milk-white waters. Another Puyallup informed him that Tacoma means any great white mountain, and that the second syllable was prolonged when Mount Rainier was referred to. Tacoma. The Reverend Peter Stanhope, an educated Puyallup, wrote to Edwin Eales, Indian agent at Tacoma in the 1880s. The meaning of Tacoman is a high, treeless, white, or light-colored peak or mound. The name is applicable to any peak or mound as described, but is generally used for one that is distinguished or highly honored. Tacoman was mostly used for the peak near Tacoma, he continued, not only because it was held with much respect by most of the Northwest Indians, but also because the syllable ko means water, and refers to the little lake at the top of the mountain. In that lake is a great abundance of valuable shells, from which the Indians made their nose and earrings and other valuable jewelry. Lascelles McWhorter, a pioneer friend of the Yakima and the Klickitat east and south of the mountain, used the spelling Tahoma for their name for it, and gave their interpretation as rumbling like thunder near the skies. Henry Sacade, an educated Nisqually, also wrote that to the Klickitat, Tahoma means the great mountain, which gives thunder and lightning, having great or unforeseen powers. Unseen powers. The Nisqually name he wrote was Takabud, meaning the place water comes from. A 93-year-old Samish woman, Mrs. Helen Shelton, who lives north of Mount Rainier, told me that her people called it Takoba. The syllables almost equally stressed, the B explosive. She said that the word means hard mountain. A Lumi Indian, Joseph Hilaire, who lives a little farther south, said that the name was Dohwak, and that it means clear sky. When the sky is clear, he explained, Mount Rainier can be seen from the ancestral home of the Lumi near Mount Baker. Koba, meaning high mountain always covered with snow, was the Skagit name for Mount Baker. Andrew Joe told me. Takoba, higher than Koba, was their name for Mount Rainier. Takobi, Takobed, Takobed, Tacoma, Tacopa, Tacobed, Takiman, Tacoman, and Tacob are other spellings found in scattered sources. Different tribes not only had different names for the great white mountain they lived inside of, they had different stories about its origin. I'm gonna get some water. Bruh. All right. Cleveland. Fuck your boat. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Hell yeah. Still at large, very large, Louisville. Fuck Louisville. Jump! 100 zoo keep. Fuck your deli. Fuck you, Midwest. Kalamazoo, Michigan. Oh shit. Power, bitch. Hell yeah. Yo, Life. Thanks for that raid. Are you there, bruh? I suppose that you are. I've been drinking again. Let me know if you're there. It tells me that you are. I don't trust my technology, as you know. Jump! Hell yeah, hell yeah. Oh, fuck. Fuck tanks. Oh, shit. Oh, no. What you gonna do? Yeah, Life. Holy shit. Good God. Did you end up beating that shit? Fucking Andromeda. You beat 2 in like 1 day. It's been almost 2 full days of Andromeda now, right? Did you beat it? shout you out here to all your viewers. Oh shit. Wow. Andromeda looks like a much more open game than the other two. The other two games look like kind of like you were on rails, basically, like you were just following the story. Andromeda, it seems like they kind of open up the world. The blueberries are finally around. Yeah, what a weird game. It's like, I don't know. I guess it's just weird for me to see something that's kind of like first-person shooter melded with RPG. And it seems kind of unique. It seems like they didn't really, like, after Mass Effect, it seems like there weren't a whole lot of games like that that were made after that. I mean, I know that there were, but, like, not a lot. It's not like a new genre or something. Gotcha, bitch. Oh, shit. Ew. But yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of shit about Mass Effect Andromeda. Entropia Universe. No missions. Yeah, defects. Thanks for the raid. all my viewers are your viewers. So shout out probably really didn't do a whole lot of good, but oh yeah, so I beat a shit. What the fuck just happened? I gotta go over here. I'm supposed to read this thing. No, this is my tie. I gotta do my job here. I guess I'll just read part 1. There are 2 big mountains in the Olympics. One of them is a sharp peak. He stands southward. His name is Achakud. Another great mountain stands to the north of him. It is like a toothed ridge. That is the man's wife. Her name is Eluth. He had 2 other wives. One was a small woman named Ba Deed. His third wife was a tremendously large woman. Her name is Dakobid. This was at the time when Transformer was just preparing to come around the world and make everything different. That man, Achakud, did not know what to do with his 3 wives. They quarreled all the time. Dakobid especially was a problem. There was no place big enough for her. She was too big, that woman. Finally, he placed her over the opposite side of the Sound. That is, on the east side. There was room enough for her there. Some people still call her by her Indian name, Dakobid. Some call her Mount Rainier. Another wife he put down over by Charleston. She's a little mountain behind Charleston. Bostons, or white people, call her Blue Mountain today. To her she gave lots of deer for her food. That small mountain was never covered by the flood. It floated up and stayed dry all the time. The other wife he set alongside himself in the Olympics. He gave her for her food all those elk that are found around there. Then everything was fixed. At that time, the Transformer turned them into mountains. Some say that Rainier and one of the other wives still continue their quarreling, off and on, and shoot fire at each other. That is the lightning. I should buy Shen's tie though and wear it. I don't think he has one yet though, like a branded one. Oh. Facebook post. Which one? Are you talking about? I really don't know what you're talking about. What Facebook post? Oh, what I just read? It's an Indian legend. I'm reading these Indian legends. Every time I destroy a state. It's like from a book I have about Indian legends. Well, yeah, but, you know, we call Native Americans Indians. So it's kind of the mythology of the native people from my area, the Pacific Northwest. Stories, the ones I'm reading now are stories of how the mountains got their names and stuff like that. Not like India, but Native American Indians. Mackinac. Mackinac has a nice bridge. What is this shit? Think you can sail away from a giant mountain? Giant monkey the size of Mississippi? Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think a lot of tribes, they prefer to be called Indians. I don't know, I think it's part of it is just like, you know, the white man came and gave us this name, and then the white man was like, no, actually it's supposed to be this other name. No, now it's supposed to be this other name. So I think the Indians were just like, fuck you, like, whatever the first thing you called us, like, that's what we're gonna be called. Like, I don't give a shit about your politics. So a lot of Indian tribes prefer to be called Indian in the U.S. Probably because of what you're saying. You know, they're not like Native Americans, they're just Americans. But to them, I think the word is Dene or something like that. Dene. It means like the people. So to them, Native American, Indian, it's all the same shit. Something like that. Life. I never understood why that part turns brown. I think we have to like come back and beat it again or some shit. Alright, so let's climb up here and read some more of this myth. So this is part 2. Long, long ago, when mountains and stars and rocks were living beings, Doswallops, a mountain on the west side of Hood Canal, had 2 wives. These wives were jealous of each other and quarreled frequently. At last, one of them filled her basket with food and plants and crossed over to the other side of the Puget Sound. As she passed over the Skokomish River, she dropped a piece of salmon, and it fell into the water. Ever since then, salmon have run up in the Skokomish River. Near where Olympia now is, she dropped some bulbs of blue camas. They spread and made a great camas prairie. When the Indians came to the earth, they went there every year to dig the bulbs for food. At last, the woman became weary of traveling. East of where Olympia now is, she sat down. She kept on sulking and nursing her troubles. Sometimes she grew so angry that she thundered, and other wife thundered back. Once she gathered some fire and threw it across the sound at the head of the other wife. It burned all the trees off her head, as you can see today. The mountain that moved away is now known as Mount Rainier. A great hole can be seen on the Olympic Peninsula where she used to stand. The other wife is now known as Mount Constance. The smaller peaks in the Olympic Mountains are the children of Doswallops and his 2 wives. Alright. Here we go. You're amazed the game got made. It looks well like it looks. You're the only person I've seen ever play. This game's awesome. This game has a master quest. Like, after you beat this game, you have to beat it again to beat it for real. I think. That's what I'm trying to do, is beat it for real. I think you, like, beat it, and then you gotta beat it again. I don't really remember. But then I think it just starts again anyway. Hell no. Military industrial bitch, you gonna missile me? Oh yeah. That's right. I'm surprised most people don't play this shit. It's like one of the best 2-player games ever made for the NES. I mean, it's like 0 skill, but because of that, it's like so much fun. Can't lose. And it makes hilarious sounds. Doo 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 doo. Life. Now you know how I feel all the time. The old fever dream. Oh shit. Yeah, fuck that orange bitch. Oh. Usually I can get him out of there. Oh. Fuck yeah. Aurora, Colorado. Fuck Colorado. Hell yeah. Well, if I have some coffee in my fridge, I should probably drink some of that shit. I'm not too tired yet, though. Must be the schizophrenia keeping me up. Jump! Oh, no, 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 no. Yeah. But yeah, life, you should totally sleep. Like, holy shit. It's way too long of a stream. Can't be healthy. One 800 Zookeep. Where the fuck am I? Orange man dead. Yeah. That's like me all the time, life. That's why these kind of games are good for me. I'm like, oh yeah, I just gotta punch this building. That's the name of the game, bro. See, what the hell? Why the fuck? He beats it twice. I don't know what the hell's going on there. That's retarded. Ex-mutant arrested. Alright. Let's see. Suppose we're on part 3 here. Before Mount Rainier was made, a beautiful maiden lived in a valley east of Puget Sound. She married a young man who lived west of the Sound. He already had one wife, and when the new wife joined them, the two women were jealous of each other. They quarreled. After a while, they hated each other. One time when their quarrel was fierce, the younger wife scratched the other woman's face. The husband, too, got scratched when he tried to separate his two wives. Then the second wife decided to take her small son and go back to her own tribe across the water. She put her son in her canoe, and also put in plenty of dried fish. As she was about to pull away from shore, she said to the boy, "Taco bad." She meant by the word, "Don't forget the snow water." From that exclamation to him, she was named Taco Bad. After returning to her childhood home, she was punished for leaving her husband. The Great Changer transformed her into a snow-capped mountain. He made her into a high peak, so that all might see it and be warned by it. The little sun was changed into what now is called Little Tahoma. It is the highest point on the eastern flank of the Great White Mountain. Taco Bad's husband also was punished because he did not control his wives and keep peace in his lodge. He was changed into a peak in the Olympic Mountains. Old Indians point to cracks in the mountains behind Jackson's Cove on Hood Canal and say, "There are the scratches Taco Bad made on his face." What? 6 a.m., 9 a.m., and making her wait till 2. The fuck? Should he just like chilling at the hospital? The hell? I know sometimes they have like big car accidents or something that require a lot of doctors, but I would think that chemotherapy or like a cancer operation would not be interfered with by a car accident, but obviously I'm not a doctor. But yeah, hopefully 2 p.m. So what do you got? What time is it there anyway right now? Like 8. So you're about noon or so, maybe 1 p.m. Oh. Yeah, that's some shit. They should at least give her a, it's 1:30, yeah. I would think that they would at least give her an IV so that she can stay hydrated and, you know, not feel hungry, not feel sick. But I guess they probably won't even take her in until 2 or whatever. That's so shitty. You need one of what? Oh shit. Fuck that. You need one of those for your stream. Oh, an IV? Yeah, you don't want that shit. Your arms start to get infected. When you had an IV in too long, they'll put in a permanent one. I still have scars. Thanks, Trix. How you doing, Trix? Yeah, I still have scars, life, from an IV that I had. I needed medicine intravenously for months. And they put a permanent IV, I forget what it was called, a permanent IV in my arm. So I don't think I can really show the camera, but basically they sew a piece of plastic into your arm so that you don't have to keep putting a needle in. And it somewhat helps infection, because when you put an IV in, slowly but surely it starts to get infected and burn. So they move it around. Yeah, IV port. So yeah, I had one of those. I would think that they might give your mom one of those. Porta-calf, yeah, something like that. But yeah, Defects is Life Master, if you don't know, Tricks. And they're waiting for a hospital to get off their ass. They have a loved one who's waiting for surgery. So we're hoping for the best. Yeah, Defects, it's pretty bad. Luckily, we live in pretty developed countries, so as much as they try to make it shitty, our healthcare is still pretty good. So I'm thinking, you know, best case scenario for your mom is probably likely here. But either way, we're here for you, Life. I mean, seriously, like, whatever happens. can always rely on us to be here. Yep. Hell yeah. Fuck Michigan. Alright, so here's the final chapter of Mount Rainier. Climb up this thing real quick. Long ago, the peaks of Hohadhun were people. White people call it Hohadhun, the Olympic Mountains. One of the warrior peaks there was named Swide Lubes. He married a maiden peak, Takabud. Even after they were married, they and the other peaks kept on growing. They became so large that after a while they were crowded in their small space. Takabud especially was growing both taller and broader. At last she said to the others, "I'll move on to a place not so crowded. Then there will be more room for the rest of you." She spoke to the rising sun. "The people over there have no mountains. I will move across the water and give myself plenty of room. I will take salmon and berries with me, so that the people over there will have plenty to eat." The peaks of Hohadhun had grown so close together that Takabud had found it hard to get loose from them. But she freed herself and moved across the sound. There she had plenty of room. She grew taller and taller, broader and broader until she became a giant mountain. After she had been on the east side of the water for a while, she turned into a monster. She devoured the people who came up on her slopes for berries. She devoured those who came to her forests for deer and elk. She sucked into her cave-like stomach all the people who came near her. Then she devoured them. Their friends and their tribesmen lived in great fear. At last they asked the Changer to come and rescue them from the mountain monster. When the Changer came, in the form of Fox, he decided to challenge Takabud to a duel. But first he made a strong rope by twisting twigs of hazel bushes and tying them together. He tied himself to a mountain near Takabud and called out to her, "O mountain monster, I challenge you to a sucking contest. I defy you to swallow me as you have swallowed your neighbors." Takabud drew in one deep breath after another. She sucked in rocks and boulders and trees, but she could not make Fox move. Again and again she tried, but Fox did not even stir. The rocks which rolled by scratched and bruised him, but he could not be moved. At last, Takabud drew in such a deep breath that she burst her blood vessels. All over her body, rivers of blood gushed forth and flowed through her sides. Then, the mountain monster died, and the Changer made a law. Hereafter, Takabud shall be harmless. The streams of blood shall turn to rivers of water. The waters shall have plenty of fish, for the good of all the people who come to the lakes and the rivers on the mountain. You'd slap someone if they gave you salmon and berries. Yeah, Takabut. I'm careful to pronounce it Takabut. Yeah, life. I mean, sleep is probably the best thing, but if you're trying to stay awake, like, I'll stay up with you. Whatever, I don't have shit to do. I gotta do a call, like, whenever at some point, but who cares? Sleep is probably the best thing, though. Yeah, I've never really, like, given an honest try to meditation. I should try more. Des Moines, Iowa. Oh shit. Oh. Tag me in the 20-hour stream hype train? Maybe. But yeah, I mean, hopefully... I don't remember what happens. I vaguely remember having to beat the whole game again. But maybe I just have to beat California again. I don't remember. Yeah. Change heart rate. Yeah. Yeah, I like going to the woods. Like, for me, I'm sure meditation would help too. But for me, just like smelling mountain air, seeing lots of trees, like that helps me clear my mind. But I have the convenience of seeing that where I live. There's lots of mountains around Spokane, Washington. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh yeah. To pour some more whiskey for that one. But yeah, Trix, thanks for coming by. And Defexed. I think I shouted you out already, Defexed, but here you go, Trix. Go follow Toe. Important member of the Retro family on this here Twitch. I don't know how you guys Twitch. I don't know how you stream for so long. My legs are like already falling asleep and shit. I guess I need to get a better beanbag chair like life. Seriously though. Like shit is retarded. I probably paid like $200 for this chair and it's a total piece of shit. Thank you, Trix, for stopping by. This orange asshole. There he is. Eat him. Hell yeah. Fuck the Midwest. Yeah. Alright, so we got kind of a short one. Let's climb up here. Long ago, long ago, when the earth was young, the Great Spirit became very angry with the people and the animals of his world. The Great Spirit lived on the snowy summit of Tacoma. He was angry because the people and animals were wicked and did many mean things to each other. He decided that he would rid the earth of all of them, except the good animals and one good man and his family. So he said to the good man, "Shoot an arrow into that cloud hanging low over the mountain." The good man shot an arrow, and it stuck in the cloud. "Now, shoot another arrow into the shaft of that arrow," continued the Great Spirit. The second arrow hit the lower part of the first arrow and stuck there. The man kept on shooting arrows as the Spirit commanded, and each arrow struck in the lower part of the preceding arrow. After a while, there was a long rope of arrows reaching from the cloud on top of the mountains clear down to the ground. "Now, tell your wife and children," commanded the Great Spirit, "to climb up that rope of arrows. Tell the good animals to climb up after them. But don't let the bad people and the bad animals go up." So the good man sent his wife up the arrow rope, then his children, and then the good animals. He watched them climb onto the clouds above the mountain. Then the good man himself climbed up. Just as he was stepping onto the cloud, he looked back. Coming up the arrow rope was a long line of bad animals and snakes. They were climbing toward the cloud. So the good man took hold of the arrow nearest him and broke the rope. He watched all the bad animals and the snakes tumble down the sides of the mountain. When the Great Spirit saw that the good animals and the good people were safe around him, he caused a heavy rain to fall. It rained and rained and rained for many nights and many nights. All the earth was under water. The water rose higher and higher on the sides of Tacoma. At last it came up the snow line, up to the high place where the snow leaves off in the summertime. By that time, all the bad people and all the bad animals were drowned. So the Great Spirit commanded the rain to stop. He and the good man and his family watched the waters slowly go down. The land became dry again. Then the Great Spirit said to the good man, "Now you may take your family and the animals back to the earth." So they all climbed out of the cloud, and the good man led them down a mountain trail to the place where they were to build a new lodge. As they walked down, they found no bad animals or snakes, and there have been none on Tacoma to this day. Nice tricks. These are some Indian legends from fucking prehistoric times. Probably should be played next to some trap beats for proper context. search bonus. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Give me that turkey, bitch. Hell yeah. Lincoln. Lincoln, Nebraska. I think this is around where Retrotherapy lives. Somewhere in Kansas or some shit. Nebraska? Oh shit. Shooting missiles at me. Yeah. Jump. Yeah, that's it. Omaha. Mutant spouse files legal action. Fuck a mutant spouse. Hell yeah. Thanks, bitch. Yeah. Oh no. Fuck helicopters. Yeah. Custer. The fuck is Custer? Custer, Nebraska. Fuck it. Just gonna pile their buildings up on the ground. Monkey way. Fuck 'em. Oh, jump that. Yeah. Nope. Bismarck. I'm pretty sure that's fucking Nebraska. Bismarck. No, North Dakota, maybe. Capital, North Dakota, Bismarck. Make pancakes. Yeah, them special pancakes right out of Bismarck whenever you need them. Yeah. Jump. Might be you. Oh. Nope. Nope. Oh. God, what a fucking asshole. Kill him. Yeah. fuck Dakotas and shit. Alright, here's an actual short one. Let's climb up here. Save state. Why not? Right. When the grandfather of my grandmother was a young man, he climbed the Takobed. He climbed to the top in search of spirit power. Before he started, he made 5 wedges of elk horn. After he reached the snow line, he used the elk horn wedges to cut steps in the snow and ice. When one wedge wore out, he threw it away and used another one. At the end of a day of climbing, when he reached the top of the mountain, the 5th wedge was worn out. On the mountaintop, he saw a small lake. He made camp beside it and stayed there all night. Next morning, he swam and washed himself in the lake. There he gained spirit power. He felt strong and brave and wise. Then the mountain spoke to him. Because you have stayed one night with me, I can talk to you. You will become an old man because of your spirit power. When you are very old, moss will grow on your knees and on your elbows. Moss will grow on your head after your hair has fallen out. At last, you will die of old age. At the time of your death, my head will burst open. The water from the lake here will flow down my sides into the valleys below. I, Takobed, have spoken. All things that come to pass, all things will come to pass, even as I have prophesied. When the mountain stopped talking, the young man picked up 5 shells and started home. Before he had gone far, snow began to fall. Oh, I have displeased Takobed. He does not wish me to carry shells away, the young man said. He threw 1 shell down, then the other 4, one at a time. The snowing stopped. With empty hands, but with strong spirit power within him, he returned home. Years passed. The young man became old. When he was very old, everything happened just as Takobed had prophesied. His hair fell out. Moss grew on his knees, his elbows, his head. To his people he said, "When I die, look up at the mountain. Takobed's head will burst open. The water from the lake on top will spill down the mountainsides." The old man died, and it was as he said. Takobed's head burst open, and the lake on top spilled out, and the water rushed down. It swept the trees from where Otring now is, and left the prairie covered with stones. White people have never seen the lake on Takobed. My grandmother, who told me the story, remembered when the lake burst and spilled out. What? his orange bitch. Hell yeah. Fuck. Yeah. Hell yeah. Fuck you, Pacific Northwest bitch. The lake on Mount Rainier. When the grandfather of my grandmother was a young man, he climbed to Kobed. He climbed to the top in search of spirit power. What the fuck? I just read this. Oh god, this is a long one. Alright, we'll just read this little bit. A wise old Nisqually once lived along the waters, near where this fort now stands. He liked to hunt and fish, as all the coast Indians did. But more than hunting and fishing, he liked hiaqua. Hiaqua are shells from the Northland. My people use them for ornaments and use them where you use money. The man who has the most hiaqua is the best of all the people who live beside these waters. This old man of my tribe could never get enough. He traded deer meat and salmon for hiaqua, but he still wanted more. He let his wife have no shells for earrings, none for necklaces. He used none himself for ornaments. Instead, he hid all the hiaqua he could get. He would never attend the salmon feasts which my people held every spring to celebrate the coming of the salmon of the rivers. Feasting is wasteful, he said. Feasters will come to want. Feasters will grow hungry. Whenever his neighbors did run short of food, he sold them the elk meat or salmon for shell money, and he always charged a high price. He would take shell ornaments from starving women in return for scraps of dry, tough elk meat. He always had fish and meat to sell, for he knew the pools where the salmon gathered and the mountain meadows where the elk fed. But he gathered hiaqua too slowly. Always he dreamed of finding a great treasure of it. Again and again he asked the spirits to tell him where he could find more shell money. Again and again they refused to tell him. Finally, Moose Moose, the great elk spirit, told him where there was a great treasure of shell money on top of Takabud. Moose Moose told the man exactly where he could find it. No one had ever climbed Takabud, for somewhere above the tree line was the home of the Tamanawis, the spirits. But his desire for hiaqua made the men brave. Toward the sunset, he started out to climb the mountain, alone. With him, he took some dried salmon and dried camas to eat, a stone pipe, and some kinnick to smoke in it. His bows and arrows, and 2 picks or spades, which he had made from a pair of big elk horns. All that night and all the next day he climbed. The second night he camped just below the snow line. He was cold, but he would not use his fire sticks and build a fire, for he feared people would follow him and find the treasure. As soon as the moonlight was bright, he started up over the snowfields where no man had ever been before. At times, he could see the peak above him. At times he could see, far below him, the waters of Wolge, the great inland sea. He climbed slowly, floundering through the deep snow. It continues, but I'm gonna play it now. Fuck you, police. Fucking assholes. Hell yeah. Portland. Eh? Portland. Executed and arrested for streaking. It's me. I was arrested for streaking once long ago. When I was a monkey. Portland. Hell yeah. Fuck, you're missing. Boom, 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 boom. Jump. Food behind open windows. Why do I doubt it? Pacific Northwest, bitch. At sunrise, he reached the top. There he found a huge hole or crater. In the center of the crater, surrounded by white snow, was a black lake and a purple rock. At the far end of the lake were 3 high stones. The man hurried toward them, for Moose Moose, the elk spirit, had told him about them. One stone was as high as a giant man, and at the top it was shaped like a salmon's head. The top of the second stone was shaped like a camas bulb. The third stone stood apart from the others. At the top it was shaped like an elk's head, with antlers in the velvet. Everything so far is exactly as Moose Moose said, the man said to himself. He was very much excited. The elk spirit had told him that he would find shell money buried in the snow at the foot of the elk head stone. He threw down his pack, seized one of his elkhorn picks, and began to dig. At the first stroke, he heard some animal behind him give a great puff. Looking around, he saw a huge otter climbing up over the edge of the lake. It was 4 times as large as any otter he had seen. The otter stopped at a moment and struck the snow with his tail. A second otter appeared at the edge of the lake, then another and another, until 12 otters had climbed up on the water after their leader. In single file they marched toward the man and formed a circle around him. Each of the 12 was twice as large as any of the otters the man had seen in the Wolge. When the 12 otters formed their circle, the big leader jumped to the top of the elk head stone and sat there between the antlers. At a signal from his tail, when he tapped against the stone, his followers puffed big puffs all at the same time. The man was startled, but soon turned back to his digging. At every 13th stroke of his pick, the chief tapped another stone with his tail, and the 12 otters in the circle tapped the snow with their tails. From underneath the snow came a strange, hollow sound. The man dug and dug and dug in the frozen snow and then in the rock under the snow. He became so hot and tired that he stopped to rest a while and to wipe the sweat from his face. But as soon as he stopped digging, the chief otter turned round and whacked him with his tail. The otters in the circle turned round and one by one whacked the man with their tails. Bruised and still tired, the man began to dig again. He dug and dug until he broke his pick. The chief otter jumped down, handed him his second pick, and jumped back to his perch on the stone elk's head. The circle of otters drew closer around him. They were so close now that he could feel their breath upon him. Still, at every 13th stroke, they tapped the snow with their tails. The sound coming up from below grew more hollow and more hollow. At last, the digger uncovered a big square hole. He stared and stared at what he saw in it. He was almost breathless with excitement and joy. The big square hole was filled with shell money. Give me that. Oh, got that shell money. Oh, yeah. Gnome. Gnome? Fuck is Gnome? Alaska, I think. Shen, what up? Yeah. Trying to beat this game. Fairbanks. I can't remember if I have to beat it all again, or if I only have to beat California. It sucks exactly this much. I don't know. I don't even remember playing any of those other ones. I think there was a good one on N64 that people liked. This is the only one I ever played, really. Yeah. Yep. Oh shit. Fuck Alaska. Hell yeah. Let's see. When he thrust his hand into the hole, he found he could not reach the bottom of the shells. He laughed aloud. At last he had what he had always wanted. The shells were pure white, small and beautiful, strung on strings of elk skin. He loaded himself with the hayakwa, putting some strings of it around his waist, some strings over each shoulder, and 5 strings in each hand. Still, the great hole seemed to be filled to the top. He thought he would take home all the hayakwa that he could carry and climb the mountain again for more. He covered the hole with stones and covered the stones with snow. But one thing he did not do. He did not leave a gift for the spirits. He should have put a string of shells. Shit. He should have put a string of shells around the stone with the salmon head at the top. Another around the stone with the camas bulb at the top. And 2 around the stone with the elk's head at the top. But he was too selfish and too greedy to be thankful. Staggering under his load of shells, the man started to climb up the side of the crater. At once, the chief otter jumped down from his perch. At once, the 12 other otters fell into line with the great puffs. They marched to the lake, plunged in, and began to beat the water with their tails. The man was so loaded with shells and the snow was so soft that it took him an hour to reach the rim of the crater. There he stopped and looked back. A thick mist was rising from the lake, where the otters were splashing. Under the mine was a black cloud, which grew bigger and blacker as he watched. Are the spirits in that cloud? He asked himself in terror. He hurriedly started down the mountain, but the black cloud followed him. The cloud became a storm, which threw him down on the jagged rocks and ice. He clung to the hayakwa, struggled to his feet, and started again. The storm grew worse. In the wind and the thunder, the man heard the voices of Tamanawis, the spirits, shrieking, "Ha ha, hayakwa, ha ha ha." Again and again the spirits screamed, "Ha ha, hayakwa, ha ha, hayakwa." The storm grew darker, louder, more terrifying. At last the man knew he would have to give something to the spirits in order to quiet their anger. So he threw into the storm the 5 strings of shells he carried with his left hand. At once there was a lull in the storm. In the quiet, the man heard the puffs of the 13 otters, but he could not see them. Then the storm grew worse again, and he heard the voices of the wind and in the thunder screaming, "Ha ha, hayakwa, ha ha, hayakwa." Well, yeah, I who knows? I'll probably get Final Fantasy IX from him tomorrow. We were gonna play. Yeah, you're bored, Shen. We're gonna play. We need to beat Bubble Bobble, and then I think we really want to play whatever it is, Secret of Mana 3. Seikiken Denetsu 3 or whatever the fuck it's called. So that's like the next like game we're probably gonna actually try to play, but I'll probably get Final Fantasy IX from him tomorrow. And I'll probably start playing it. Yeah. Yeah, we want to beat SD3 2-player. I mean, it would be good if we could play 3-player, but it seems like there's no way. Actually, the best thing would probably be for you to play, and then I could play with you, and then Hayama could join in whenever. Or something, or like, you know, guest subscribers could join in whenever. But I think me and Hayama will probably play through it together in full at some point as well. I mean, Shen, if that's what you want to do, like, you know, I'm totally open to that. It's just, I don't know what your, yeah, so that's Super Nintendo, right? So what we've been using is ZSNES. Of course, everybody tells us use RetroArch, but somewhere Hayama read that ZSNES has the more. Well, I think Hayama would only join on occasion, you know, like I'd probably be there for mostly all the streams. Yeah. Right. Well, I don't. The thing is, I think it's like because of, at least if the game works like Secret of Mana, then ideally they should be able to just, you know, check out whenever they need to go or whenever we need to do something. Fuck Hawaii. All right, San Diego again. I think we just have to beat California and we're done. Let's climb up this thing. But yeah, Shen, it'd be nice if we could like maybe like me, you, and Hayama, Neon, Life, like maybe a few of us should set it up so that we can hot play, like anytime we want we can join each other and shit. Hands of the spirit seemed to clutch at the strings of Hayakwa at his waist and at his neck. Terrified, the man threw into the storm the shell money which he wore around his waist. There was a lull for a few seconds. And he heard again the puffs from the otters he could not see. Then the storm grew more frightening. The roar of the wind was louder than the roar of many bears. The man threw away the shell money, which he wore around his neck. Again there came a lull in the storm, and again he heard the puffs of the otters. Then the wind blew him from his path. The thunder roared with a terrifying sound. The voices of the spirits screamed, "Hayakwa, Hayakwa." The man threw away one of the strings of Hayakwa which he carried in his right hand. He threw away the second and the third and the fourth, but the storm continued. For a long time he clung to his fifth string, the last of the Hayakwa he carried. Finally he threw it away. By this time he was worn out by the storm and by the struggle in his mind. He sank into the snow and fell into a deep sleep. After a long, long time, he awoke. He heard Blue Jay welcoming the sunrise. Looking around, he found himself in the place where he had camped, and where he had started climbing by moonlight. Around him was a thick carpet of camas. What could that mean? Camas belongs in wet meadows, not on mountainsides, he thought to himself. Hungry, he looked for his pack of dried salmon and dry camas, but it was gone. Only his black stone pipe remained. When he started down the mountain, he found that he was very stiff. His joints creaked and groaned. Scratching his head, he found that his hair was matted and very long. But he felt strangely at peace with himself and with the world. He had never heard the birds sing so sweetly and the forest hum so cheerfully. He no longer had any desire for Hayakwa. Instead, he wanted to see his neighbors. Walking down the mountainside as fast as his creaking joints would let him, he soon came to the place where his lodge had once stood. But everything was changed. A new and better lodge stood there, and trees he remembered as small were now tall, with many branches. In front of the new lodge, a very old woman was seated on the ground, stirring a kettle of salmon over an open fire. If she was his klutchman, his wife, she had grown old during his absence, and also rich. Around her neck and wrists and waist, she wore many strings of hayakwa. He heard her chanting this song as she stirred. My old man has gone, gone, gone. My old man to the mountain has gone, gone, gone. To hunt the elk, he went long ago. When will he come down, 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 down to the salmon pot and me? Joyfully the man rushed towards her, shouting, He has come from the mountain, down, 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 down to the salmon pot and you. He had been gone for 30 snows, his wife told him. She had gathered camas bulbs and special herbs, had sold them, and so had earned enough for the new lodge and her strings of shell money. Soon, she and her neighbors learned that the man who had climbed Takabud was a changed man. He was changed inside. He no longer wanted hayakwa. He was contented with what he had, and he cheerfully shared with others. He showed people where the best fishing and hunting were. He taught them better ways of hunting elk and of spearing salmon. People lived near Takabud, and people living along Wolj came to him for advice. He told them what to do to make peace with the spirits who live on the mountain. He became the great medicine man of the Nisqually. Skeeby! Good God! What is going on here? This is a trash stream, bruh. Good God, I need to push buttons. Holy shit. What is even happening here? Awesome. 300 followers and 7,000 views. So let's see if I have a timeout. S.O. Shenbolt. S.O. Skeeby Bath. Oh. I have a cooldown for my own bullshit? What a load of shit. How do I disable that? Skeeby Bath. Last playing cool shit. And they brought all my viewers, so there's no point to this shit anyway. Every time somebody raids, all my viewers are their viewers, so what's the point of shouting out? But yeah, thanks Skeeby for that raid. Sorry to Skeeby's viewers. It was a terrible stream. They were faded by Skeeby. Alright, Shen. Oh, shit. Yeah, no problem. I'll catch you later. Yeah. You should get that US P.O. box. I think it's cheaper than the Canadian ones. You too, Shen. Hope you have a good night. Get some sleep. Or day, or whatever. See you soon. Question mark? I gotta run the US? I just remember, I don't know, I remember looking up P.O. boxes and they were like a third the price of the ones that you were quoting in Canada. I don't know how often you come to the US, but yeah. US P.O. box. A P.O. box in the United States, I think, was cheaper than what you seem to think they would cost in Canada. But who knows? Personally, I would just give my neighbor's address and be like, yeah, when the anthrax comes, just bring it over to me. Give me that fucking orange, dude. Tastes like bacon. Hell yeah. I don't know, that's what my friends always do. I knew a lot of people in Cleveland that would just like order drugs to like their neighbor's house. This one guy, he ordered a whole bunch of fucking weed or whatever to his neighbor's house or his friend's house. And the post office called him and was like, hey bruh, is this your weed? And the guy was like, nah. But then he tried to come pick it up anyway. Anyway, long story short, they basically just dodged the fucking calls. The cops stole their weed, but they never got in trouble. Yeah, $20 for 6 months, that's about right. I thought you were saying you were gonna have to pay like $12 a month or more in Canada. Yeah, I'm sure those kids went to jail eventually anyway, but... When the cops call you and ask you if it's your weed, just say no. Yeah. No, I mean, if you don't go... I don't know how often you go to the US. So it might not be worth it. Like I said, best case scenario, you just know somebody who doesn't give a shit. Like me. You can just get all your shit mailed to them. $20 a month Canadian? Yeah, fuck that. $16 a month? Nah. It's not even worth it. Just give people a fake address. Just give them all my address. Just be like, yeah, my address is in Spokane. Like, what the fuck do I care? And when their bullshit comes, I'll just forward it to you if it's not anthrax. Who cares? Congratulations. Hell yeah. Original game by Bali, you little bitch. Yeah, I mean, I really, like, don't think anyone's gonna give me any shit, Shen. Like, I live in the countryside, more or less. Like, if anybody with, like, an out-of-state license plate comes along, my neighbors just shoot at you anyway. Like, fuck you. Everything takes an extra month. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, Shen. If you send it to me, I mean, I could at least evaluate whether it's trash, right? Like, oh, they sent you this game that you actually want, and I could send it to you. But if it's just, like, a box of coins, I can just be like, yeah, like, you could be like, yes, thank you. Like, yeah, Shen. But, I mean, can you even get swatted in Canada? Like, do you even have SWAT? I don't know. I think that's a US thing, isn't it? In Canada, they just come, like, give you a postcard, and they're like, we think you're a drug dealer, but in the US, they're like, fuck you, we're gonna kill your whole family and your dog, and then we're gonna decide whether you're guilty. I don't know. I don't know if you can get swatted in Canada. Shen, I don't know about... I mean, personally... I don't know. What is this shit? I gotta start again? Canadian history of swatting, huh? Gross. Holy shit. How the fuck did Fermata get 45 viewers? Let's go raid Fermata. That son of a bitch. With his good looks and them dainty UK accent, getting them girls interested. Faced 60 charges for involvement in dozens of incidents. Sounds like a little bitch. Yeah, dude, I guarantee you, if somebody calls the cops on me... Oh god, the cops will just laugh their ass off. Alright, let's go raid Fermata while we got some fucking views and shit, thanks to... Who the fuck are we even thanking? Skeeby and Shen? And Life? Otherwise I'd have 0 viewers. But yeah, let's go raid Fermata. Thanks again for everybody stopping by, and Shen, thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you'll join me in Fermatas, and if not, I will see you soon. I love you all. Thanks for chilling. Sounds good, Shen. I'll make sure to mail you something. We're going to raid now, boys.